What's up, nerds? Welcome to this special recap and breakdown episode of Them Nerds. Today, we are going to be talking about, of course, episode 5 of the Disney Plus series, Loki. It is the penultimate episode of the season. You like that vocabulary word? It means second to the last. Uh, but before we get into that, of course, we have our giveaway where you can win this wonderful Shang-Chi Funko Pop. And all you have to do is like, subscribe, and comment below, or comment on one of our social media sites. We are on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at We Them Nerds. Jerry, let's get into it. This was a great episode, lots of action, lots of character development, exposition. What'd you think?
That was great. I think that it did a good job of tying up some loose ends so that, it can focus more on what we don't know for the last episode.
Yeah. We kicked off the episode, of course, right where we left off with our main Loki communicating with the variant Lokis, of course, boastful Loki, who is the one with the hammer, kid Loki, classic Loki, and my personal favorite Loki from now until the end of time, alligator Loki, who we got to see bite off the hand of President Loki, who was a surprisingly short-lived version. We saw this version of Loki in all of the promo materials, the trailers, and he was there for what, maybe 3 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also saw some of the variants that were shown in the first episode making a return.
Right. We learned that this place that Loki woke up is kind of this void at the end of time that is guarded by this massive smoke creature, Alioth. Glad to see he's gotten some work since Lost went off the air.
Right, that's exactly what I thought it looked like and sounded like.
Terrible. Yeah, so
it made more sense in this one episode than it did for 4 seasons of Lost.
That's true. And by the way, spoilers abound if you haven't already figured that out. Alioth in the comics is a massive trans-dimensional being who controls my cat just scared the crap out of me. He controls a domain that's bigger than what Kang controls. And in fact, and this may be pertinent to this show, in the comics, Alioth's domain is what keeps Kang from expanding into what we know as our normal sort of time-space reality.
It's also called Limbo, right? I wonder if does it have any connection to the whole magic aspect of X-Men?
Could. They definitely could.
So, bring it on from New Mutants.
Hey, maybe so. I would love if they used New Mutants, if they tied it in and made it canon, even a little bit. But anyway.
You digress.
But I digress. So we also get to see Judge Ravonna Renslayer pretending to be helpful to Sylvie. Of course, she's not. She's just killing time until the TVA guards can come in and try to get her. And Sylvie, her goal is to get to Loki and help Loki. And to do that, what does she do, Jerry?
She, offs herself. She trims her branch.
Yes. She commits the temporal version of seppuku and jabs herself in the guts, and off she goes. So then we get Sylvie in this void at the end of time, and just as she's about to be consumed by Alioth, she is rescued by who?
Mobius.
Yes. It would have been rad if he would have rescued her on a jet ski. Yeah. But a pizza delivery car will have to do. So we get Loki's formulating a plan to go and take out Alioth, which of course all the other Lokis are laughing at him like, you're silly. What are you doing? Sylvie has a plan though. So she and Mobius, they go find, they meet up with Loki, and all this stuff comes to fruition, and off they go to defeat Mr. Giant Smoke Monster.
Yeah, they find that, together they're stronger.
Apes together strong. Yeah. So we get, it's funny, like, we talked about this last show. Loki's a bad guy, or at least he's supposed to be, right? But not only is Loki turning out to be pretty heroic, Sylvie turns out to be pretty heroic. And then all of the other Lokis seem to also be pretty heroic, except boastful Loki. He turned out to be kind of a shitheel.
Yeah.
So we get the big climactic end scene. And Sylvie and Loki are trying to, with their powers combined, they're going to Care Bear stare the smoke monster. But they can't do it. Not by themselves, Jerry.
Yeah, they're not strong enough. They
need an old man in yellow spandex. Richard E. Grant, who is, of course, classic Loki, or old Loki, as the internet has referred to him a bit. There's a little foreshadowing in the episode where he talks about how, no offense to the other Lokis, but he doesn't focus on daggers. He focuses on enchanting and using his magic, right? And he does. And in one of the more badass scenes that we've seen on these Disney Plus shows, what does he do?
Yeah, you think Wanda's pretty awesome by being able to bring back the 60s. I mean, this man actually rebuilt Asgard.
Yeah, he uses the glorious purpose line that we've heard so many times and come from Loki. And all of a sudden, Asgard itself just rises up from this wasteland. And Eliath, who is apparently a moron, is like rah, 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 trying to bite Asgard.
Yeah, like a cat with a laser.
And that gives Sylvie and Loki enough time to work their magic. And we end the episode with Eliath kind of turning green and opening up. And we see what is beyond the void at the end of time. It's a cool scene.
Yeah, really cool scene.
So I love the Easter eggs in this show. There were so many.
Yeah, you see them as they're doing their walk. The first thing you see is the Thanos copter from comics.
Yes. And my favorite part was it was just a helicopter with Thanos written in gigantic letters on the side. Like, hey, look,
I think
here
literally
it is.
what it looked like in the comics.
Yes. Very chintzy for a, Titan, but whatever. Yeah, we got to see, you pointed it out. You texted me that we saw one of Thanos' ships and a helicarrier.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. My favorite Easter egg, though, there were two. One of them was on the wall in the TVA, in the mural. There was a young version of Stan Lee painted on the wall, which I thought was super cool. And then my favorite one was as the Lokis were going down into their hatch, it kind of like panned down to the side of it. And you could see like all these like lunch trays and boxes kind of like all smashed together that were making up this like lump. But then you see Mjolnir and you're like, oh crap, there's Mjolnir. And then right below Mjolnir, there's a little glass jar with a little miniature Thor jumping up and down, trying to get the Mjolnir. I loved it. That was great.
The car that Mobius is driving also looks really familiar, but I couldn't figure out where that was from. Because it had that springy pizza thing on top of the car.
Is it from Toy Story?
Maybe.
Nerds, if you know the connection with that pizza car, drop it in the comments below. You might win yourself this Shang-Chi Funko Pop.
Then they also had the Sphinx that was there, and we, anybody who's aware of Kang, he flies around in a magic Sphinx. So I don't know if that was a nod and a wink to him or not, but it seems possible.
Yeah, I mean, we all know that we're going to see Kang. We're guaranteed we're going to see Kang in Quantumania, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. The connections that we should get from this show and especially knowing that we have Ravonna Renslayer
Yeah.
and Eliath, the connections that we should get to Kang, they should happen on the next episode, which is the finale already. And I don't know if we're going to get them or if it is just kind of the wink and nod thing. Like, hey, you guys are expecting Kang. Well, here's a Sphinx. That'll
Yeah.
have to do. So I don't know.
I mean, it'd be cool too if we just get like, the old first time we saw Thanos after I think it was the first Avengers movie where he just kind of turns towards the camera and smiles.
Right. Just like, oh no, there he is. And then the screen goes black.
Yeah.
So this show is amazing. We're already almost done. One more episode. I will say though, even in this short amount of time, I feel like they are better poised to wrap up the season in a cohesive way with this show than they were with either of the last two shows.
Yeah, I think this show definitely benefited from the fact that it was heavy on the CGI, and it happened well within the pandemic. And once that things were starting to reopen, especially the whole Hollywood and everything else, it really wrapped up even before the second close down. So whereas that's not the case for Wanda and Falcon and Winter Soldier. So
right. Well, yeah, there's no it doesn't seem like when WandaVision was wrapping up and we were like one episode from the end. And maybe it's because we thought that a bunch of things were going to happen that didn't really happen. But it felt like, how are they going to fit all of this stuff into one more episode? And the same was true for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. How are they going to fit all this stuff into one more episode? And, to varying degrees, they did, I guess. But this show, I feel like on the next episode, at least for me, I expect to see them, a little bit of a detective sort of thing going through and figuring out what they're looking at. I see Ravonna kind of following them, Mobius following her, maybe breaking out Hunter B-15 to help him out. I see that it's going to be done. It's going to wrap up. And I don't feel like that sense of like, how are they going to do this like we did with the last two shows?
The real question is, do we, at the end of this last episode, do we actually say goodbye to the Loki we've known the whole time, or does he continue on?
Nah, dude, Hiddleston's gold. They're not letting him go. They're gonna make
Scarlett Johansson.
She'll be back. They're making you know what? They threw her a bone and they're doing that Tower of Terror movie. I feel like this show deserves multiple seasons. And maybe it's going to be without Hiddleston. I don't think so. I think he's going to stick around. I think with the Doctor Strange, being the Doctor Strange sequel being focused on the multiverse and things converging and all that, I see him coming back into the main continuity, honestly.
It would kind of be cool somehow, everything breaks down at the very end and somehow the Lokis get stuck in the quantum realm. And that's how I continue on, maybe in Ant-Man and the Wasp or whatever.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like, I guess I shouldn't be too confident because Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans are both gone, and Scarlett Johansson after her solo film is gone. But I don't feel like they're going to let Hiddleston go yet.
I don't disagree, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. We talked about it on the last show, and we were talking about Doctor Who a lot on our last episode here. And when we were watching this show tonight, you were like, that fight was so Doctor Who. And I was like, yeah, they keep having these callbacks and it makes me wonder, we keep thinking maybe they're going to have sort of a Doctor Who sort of, feel to any kind of a spin-off or second season or whatever, where the Lokis are, going through time and doing this, that, and the other and doing Doctor Who-like things. I would love to see that.
But they have so many opportunities to be able to expand the story with Kid Loki and obviously Sylvie and, Loki that we know and any other Loki we didn't meet.
Sure. And for those of you guys that have watched this show, with any regularity over the last, 6 months or so, I always seem to come back to the Young Avengers, and I'm going to do it again. The actor that they have playing Kid Loki, Jack Veal, um, has made it clear that he loves the idea of being involved in the MCU. And hey, guys, Young Avengers had a young Loki.
Yep.
We could see it, and I'd like to, especially if he brings the alligator with him. I just want to see the alligator more.
Well, doesn't Kid Loki, he has the ability to jump through time, right?
Yeah.
So that right there would be a good thing, especially if he doesn't have, something holding him back in that world that he's in.
Right. Yeah. And with all of the various shows that we're going to get, I saw a theory actually that Tommy and Billy, aka Wiccan and Speed, or Speed and Wiccan, if I name them that way, aka Wanda and Vision's kids, I saw a theory that they're being held by the TVA. And if that's the case, what a great way for Kid Loki to involve himself in this new iteration.
Yeah,
that'd be great. But anyway, I don't know. And now we're getting into that Blue Marvel Man on the Ridge speculation stuff again. Any final thoughts on this episode, Gerald, before we let these fine people go to sleep?
I think that this is one of the better, every episode's getting better and better. So I think we might as well just go ahead and be prepared for episode 6 to blow us away.
I think it's going to be great. And I think it's going to be satisfying. And that's the important thing. It's not going to leave us, it's okay for a show to leave us wanting more, but not to leave us feeling like we didn't get enough.
Yeah. Wait till they open that door, they find Mephisto there.
It's going to be Mephisto. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Anyway. All right. I would like to echo Jerry's sentiment. Great episode. Loved it. Can't wait for episode 6, which of course is the finale. Don't forget to check us out on social media at We Them Nerds on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Check out our other videos here on YouTube at youtube.com/Them Nerds on YouTube. And that'll do it for us today on Them Nerds. Be good. Be good to each other.
Stay nerdy.
Later, nerds.